Hello, my name is Dan Skip Allen, and this is Bleacher Features, where myself and a guest discuss a sports movie. I did a series of these last summer, and I'm going to do it again this summer because I really love sports movies. I love talking about movies in general. And somebody came to me and they said, "Hey, what do you think about talking about Caddyshack?" I was like, I'm all down for talking about Caddyshack. And his name is Mr. Nick Carley. Nick, thank you for doing this with me.
Oh, of course. I'm like you said. I'm happy to talk about. Argue. I mean, it is a very. I will say I'm very subjective in the sense that I grew up on this film. I've watched this movie. I've lost count of how many times I've watched this movie. So yeah. I mean, this was one of the first sports movies my dad ever watched with me, and we watch it together all the time. And I mean, heck, you can see the golf clubs back there. It's one of the main reasons I started playing golf regularly too. So, like I said, we'll go into that more. But yeah, any chance to talk about this movie, I'm absolutely obliged to do so.
Yeah, I mean, on Bleacher Features, we don't mess around with bad sports movies. We get great sports movies, and we get people that are passionate about them. Arguably, Caddyshack is one of the greatest of all time, and so I was like really enthused about discussing it because I haven't seen it in a while. I was like you; I saw it when I was a kid, and I saw it when it came out. I don't go back to it on a regular basis like you probably do, but revisiting it for this, I just you can't help but smile at so many different moments in the film, and it's such a fantastic film. Just going through, it came out in 1980. It's 138 minutes. The cast, and once I'm done talking about the cast and the director, just chime in.
Sure.
Chevy Chase as Ty Webb, Ted Knight as Judge Smales, Rodney Dangerfield is Al Zervik, I guess it's called Zervik.
I think it's Chervik. I mean, it's trying to remember. It's something. You're close. You're very close. I don't remember.
Okay. I'm just reading it off of my notes, so it's hard to.
I think it's just Cervik, like Al Cervik.
Yeah. Got it. Cervik. I'll have to remember that when we're discussing it. All right. Yeah. Bill Murray as Karl Spackler. Lacey Underall as Cindy Morgan. Michael O'Keefe as Danny Noonan. Sarah Holcomb as Maggie Hooligan. Scott Colomby as Tony D'Annunzio, and Brian Doyle Murray as Lou Loomis. Directed by Harold Ramis. I'm assuming this is his first movie ever directed.
It's pretty close if it's not his first. I'm going to look that up while you're going.
A couple big songs in the movie that I noted that I really like. I'm All Right by Kenny Loggins is played a couple different times.
Oh, it's a classic. Absolute classic.
Anywhere You Want It by Journey. Those are the two songs in the movie that I kind of caught my ear because I really enjoyed them. Any thoughts on the cast and those actors and whatnot and directing?
Yeah. But okay, so you were correct. That was his first full-length directorial debut for Harold Ramis. So hell of a start.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's just he clearly just called up his friends at SNL and was like, "Hey, you guys want to do a movie about a silly comedy about golf?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll do it." So I mean, it's just you've got two of the biggest comedic actors fairly early in their career with Chevy and Bill Murray, which are arguably the two best characters in that movie. With my personal favorite being Speckler is absolutely. It's like he absolutely nails that role the whole way through, and. Ted Knight is brilliant in that like super stuck up like country club. He's not the owner of the country club. He just thinks he is kind of deal. So it's just like that. No, he nails that brilliantly. And then I will say, I know a lot of people have issues with Rodney Dangerfield's character being super annoying for how over the top he is. But that is the character. He is supposed to be that guy, so I forgive him in that point. So it's just, but I do see how he can be annoying after a while, but But he does have some really funny moments, like just the first time he's in the pro shop and he's like, "Do you get a cup of soup with that hat?" and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways.
And the thing is, as his career, that's who Rodney Dangerfield was as a comedian, though. He took his whole comedic act and brought it to that character.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, and then I think this may have been his first film, if not super close. Was the guy who played Danny Noonan?
Oh,
so I mean, he was supposed
O'Keefe.
to just So Michael O'Keefe, he's just sort of be there to bounce off of people. So I mean, I understand his thing. So, but he did his job. The Denuzio character was great as the like super cocky rival of Daniel O'Keefe and I'm having this pulled up too,
Michael O'Keefe.
Yeah, Michael O'Keefe, and then why am I forgetting her name? Cindy Morgan. That's right.
Cindy Morgan.
She basically is just there to ruin everyone. Like she's so I don't know. It's like just her like going in and like it's very exaggerated characters, and I think it works for the story because everything is just it's extremely, just making fun of country club life.
Yeah.
And it works. Like it's absolutely brilliant. So anyways, so I think everyone did, what they were brought to do. I will say that I have heard that there was a lot of drugs done on set during this film. I mean, I won't confirm or deny that, but that there are stories that there was lots of drugs done on this film. But I think it made it better, to be honest, because it was just like they all just improvised, and they're all excellent improvisers. So, I mean, it's a laugh the whole way through. So it's just like, and like I said, the fact that, and we talked about the music a little bit later too, but just Kenny Loggins coming in, that intro song is absolutely, I mean that, and then the whole gopher thing throughout the whole film.
We'll get into all that.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm just trying not to get too far ahead.
Yeah. You don't want to get too far ahead. All right. So the movie takes place at a place called Bushwood Country Club, which I actually got this in a trivia question one time. Yes. I got this right. I'm glad. Because I wouldn't live with myself if I got this wrong.
Oh no, that's how I am with this film. If like basically anything trivia related, if I were to miss a question in this movie, I would be very upset with myself. But go ahead.
Yeah. So we start off. Danny gets called the wrong names all the time by Ty Webb, and this as the film goes by, this will come into prominence. At the beginning, he's being called the wrong names all the time by Ty Webb. And then he tries to do. He's playing golf, and you're gonna, as a golfer, and people that play golf, you heard this a million times. Be the ball, blindfolded. Be the ball. Yeah. It's like that's where "Be the Ball" came from. Came from Caddyshack, and there's another one in here that everybody will be like, oh, okay, that's where that came from. So great movies have great quotes, and they transcend. And Caddyshack has a few of them.
Oh yeah, at least.
Yeah, "Be the Ball" is just. How many times have you heard that, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, like I said, anyone who's at least played golf for a decent amount of time in their life know that quote.
Yeah.
So it's there.
Then you got Karl with the Dalai Lama story, which this is priceless. This is a priceless story,
One of the best improvised scenes that's ever been made, in my opinion. They literally just told him to tell a story, and that's what he did. So it's just like absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, I think that quote, just the whole story, is like at least top 50 quotes of all time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of all movies, not just comedies.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. So anyways.
Yeah. So Tony, I ain't paying 50 cents for a Coke. All right. So 1980, things were cheap. Things were cheap. He acted like 50 cents was expensive in 1980 for a Coke.
I mean, yeah.
We would love to pay 50 cents for a Coke today.
I mean, that's a 200% markup. So you're like, what the? It's like, I mean, that's how you would react in that situation because you're like, okay. And clearly the guy he's dealing with, they don't like each other. So it's like, oh, you're clearly doing this because you don't like me.
Loomis.
Yeah. So it's just, So it's just like, okay, I see what it is. Well, you ain't getting no Coke.
Yeah. Okay. So then we find out there's a thing called this Casey Scholarship that these guys are trying to play for by winning a caddy tournament. There's a caddy tournament at Bushwood Club, and they can win a scholarship by winning the caddy tournament. Or they have to do with one another somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's no. I love because there's that one guy. I'm forgetting his character's name, but like that's always hanging out with Danny. That like he caddies with him a couple times. Yeah. And the main line I'm thinking of, he's like, oh, that's the guy that swallowed his vomit during a test.
Yeah.
Like that guy, like he had like 3 or 4 lines and they all stand out to me.
Yeah.
Like they were delivered great. I'm trying to remember the kid's name, but he was fantastic.
I forget the kid's name too, but you're going to remember this is a great line of dialogue here from Ty Webb and the judge. Don't sell yourself short. You're plenty short. The judge, how do you measure yourself up against other golfers?
That's my dad's favorite quote. He's like, how do you measure yourself? My height.
I mean, it's so obvious now, but in the movie, you're like, duh. Of course you're going to measure. It's just about him being short, him being tall. It's just like short, tall joke, which is pretty damn funny. If unless you're short and you don't like tall jokes.
But that was like that's another classic one that just if you hear it, you know where it's from, kind of deal. So
finally we get Rodney Dangerfield shows up. He's got a nice, bright, like colored suit, a beautiful car. I mean, this guy is like, oh, okay.
And that horn, the
horn. Yep. Then we get Lacey. Lacey shows up, and she's Smale's niece, and you're like, okay. Now,
that's like, I mean, she nailed it, and she was just like, like that's clearly what she's there for. And oh man, no, like I said, and then when he enters in, like, telling his Asian American friend to be like, man, why are you taking pictures? It's a parking lot. And then just going into the pro shop, he's like, I'll get the naked lady tees, a few of these, a few of those. It's like, who'd buy that hat? He's like, I hope you get a cup of soup with that. And then turns around, sees Smales saying like, oh, it looks good on you though. No, just that, like that Rodney Dangerfield, like huge eye roll is absolutely perfect for that scene.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll.
That's all right. The judge gets hit in the nuts with the ball. The music gets Smales mad. Oh, okay. Automatic clubs interrupt Smales. Then the judge gets hit in the nuts with the ball, and then the music bothers him. That's all like the whole sequence. Yeah,
well, it's just like, it's sort of, that's the whole thing of like, I'm trying to start. So, well, no, because he's playing the Journey song. He's playing and so he's like, there's no music in Bushwoods. And then he hits the ball and he says 4, and obviously hits him in the nuts. And he's like, oh, I should have said 2.
There you go.
So it's like, that's another wonderful, little clip from there.
Exchange,
and then, so it was good. It's like, and just that whole bit of like, everyone loves him because he doesn't give 2 craps about anything else. And so everyone's following him. He had the little TV on his golf bag too. And
it's like, who the hell has a golf bag like this? Right? Automatic clubs, TV on the golf. Only this guy. And this guy's cool. You want to be that guy.
He only had the putter that was apparently invented by Einstein, which it's like, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So then we finally get to this subplot within the movie. Karl tries to drown the Gophers with water. That's because Judge saw a gopher on the course and he tells him he wants them to get the. So then he goes this whole trying to drown the gopher out of their holes with water. And this is a running gag throughout the movie, which we'll keep discussing as we move forward.
Oh yeah. Well, just real quick, I want to start with the original one where his boss comes up to him. He's like, "I need you to kill all the Gophers," and he's like, "Well, if I did that, they'd throw me in jail and throw away the key." He's like, "No!" Like that. Another just brilliant line from that one. Go ahead.
He's Irish, and so it sounds Gophers.
Yeah, it's like Gophers. Yeah, exactly. So he's like, "No, the furry little rodents."
Yeah.
So
that guy was kind of funny the couple times he was on screen.
Agreed.
And so then we got we finally get introduced to Danny's girlfriend, Maggie. She's Irish. She works at the Burger Shack, and she's got she's got of course the Irish accent as well. You don't expect that. You just, okay, oh, she's Irish. All right, Maggie.
Yeah, it's just kind of random, but I mean,
Maggie O'Houlihan.
Yeah,
she's got a good Irish name, Maggie O'Houlihan. You know? Okay, then Al Betts. Okay, so this is where Danny is playing golf for the to get into the caddy tournament.
Yeah,
and Al bets $1,000 that Danny would miss the putt.
It was that Judge Smales would miss the putt.
Oh, okay. Judge Smales would miss the putt. I have my notes.
Because Al's waiting, and because Judge is on the green, and Al's waiting about 100 yards away, and he's like, "I'll bet $1,000 you miss that putt," and that's where he says, "There's no betting at Bushwood, and I don't miss these putts," or something along those lines. Oh no, sorry, I'm mixing lines up. Scratch that.
No.
I got the first part right. The second part, but anyways.
So then Danny makes it to the caddy tournament. And then Al, this is a whole nother sequence. They go to like a dinner, like meeting kind of thing after at night. And that's when we have this whole area. Al insults the food at the restaurant. And then going back to Karl still hunting them Gophers. He's got a bunch of beers. He's got a 6-pack with him.
Yep. Exactly. And then Al Cervic calls it dog food. He's like, "Dog food? I'll show him dog food."
Yeah. So they think Bushwood Country Club is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and Al's like, "Yeah, this is just glorified dog food." Yeah. Isn't it all that great for him? Yeah. Then we find out that Cindy, Judge Smale's niece, is hot for Ty Webb. And then he goes over to her and he goes, "Want to tie me up with some of your ties?" He goes over to because he's wearing these fancy ties, and they start talking about that. "Oh, want to tie me up with some of your ties?" You're like, "Oh, okay, this is where we're going with this."
I mean, pretty typical for 1980. That's not terribly surprising.
yeah, I guess you're right. Then Smale's son vomits in the car, and then the guy whose car it belongs to ends up going out there and sits in the vomit.
Yep, and he goes like this.
Yeah. That was just like, oh no,
Classic. Yep, that's like classic humor right there. Yep, that was good. No, and then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so that, when Lacey and Ty go back to Ty's house and just all the different things they find, and she's like, "Why do you have a check for $25,000 sitting here?" And she's like, "Oh," he's like, "No, you can keep it." Just like little, like very, it's a very Chevy scene. Like that's the epitome of Chevy Chase. All of that entire like sequence in his house. And the whole thing was just laughing the whole way through. So,
it was like, who's got all this money laying around and they're not even cashing these checks?
Yeah,
like, wow, that must be nice, right? Have a bunch of $1,000 checks laying around.
Yeah, so you wonder, like, what exactly does Ty do for a living? And you're like, okay.
I was wondering that myself. All right, so then we're back inside, and Al's doing some crazy dancing, and he insults Judge Smale's wife.
Yes.
Which, I mean, you want to talk about crazy dancing in all the movies and all. This has got some of the craziest dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was like, I mean, that's Rodney Dangerfield for you. Like most of these characters are the embodiment, maybe exaggerated versions of the actual people.
Yep.
So, I mean, when it comes to at least to Chevy and when it comes to Rodney Dangerfield, I mean, they didn't really do too terribly much acting. Just kind of went a little above and beyond, maybe, but that's them.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And then Ty tells a story about the roommate getting kicked out of college, and then Danny wins the caddy tournament against Tony, which is a big thing.
Oh yeah, no, and then just the back and forth in that scene is just like, oh, you spend some time at the beach when he hits it in the bunker, and just like fun little like, okay, you are keeping it a golf movie. You are making jabs at people who play golf, and I think that helped it a little bit too. So it's just, and the whole just a little bit before the whole like when Ty was talking about his roommate in college, and the whole night putting thing. It's like with the 15-year-old daughter of the dean. Be like, oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So it's just, it was a very, a lot of like underhanded kind of jokes like that work well. And I think they still hold up pretty decently till today.
Oh yeah. I mean, this movie holds up so well. I was shocked. I mean, I've seen it, like I said, I've seen it multiple times, and I saw it when it first came out. But I cannot believe how well it holds up. I was shocked how well it held it up.
Yeah.
Watching it. That's why it's a classic. Classics always hold up.
Oh, for sure. Classic comedies for sure. I mean, that's why they're classic comedies.
Yeah,
so
and people, and we'll get into a little bit of this other stuff later, but I'm not going to get into.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Towards the end, we'll have kind of a little bit of discussion about the overall impact of the movie and so forth. Danny gets with Maggie. Finally, we get to see these two get together. So we know there's something there between these two because they're getting it on together. Yeah. This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. The pool party.
Yeah,
we're at the pool party,
and
we get to see Cindy walk in, and she is drop dead gorgeous in a black bathing suit, and everybody's like, "Whoa, okay."
Everyone just stops, sucks in their stomach. Like that is so like exactly what people would do at the pool. Like it's like like that reaction was perfectly nailed. So
yeah. Now, this is the scene I thought was like, where the hell did this come? Who put this in this movie? Is the synchronized swimming in the pool. Like, what the hell are they doing synchronized swimming in this pool? It's a pool party.
Yeah, and it was actually really well done, synchronized swimming, which was strange. So it was like purposely put in there, obviously.
Yeah.
So you wonder like who, like if Harold Ramis put that in, or what it's like, or they just thought it'd be funny at the time. That's what I'm thinking, is that they were like, look, it'd be super funny if we did this, and Harold was like, sure, I don't mind, go ahead. So, but anyways.
Now, okay, Nick, I'm sure you've been at public pools or you've been at pool parties in your day. You're younger than me. I've been at pool parties. I've been in public pools. I've been at the ocean. I've been everywhere. We all been there when someone played the gag of Baby Ruth bar in the pool or whatever. Oh, and now you know where it came from. It came from Caddyshack.
Well, I mean, that was, because they played the Jaws music, didn't they? Yeah, it's like they played Duty.
Yeah.
No, that was so well done. And then of course, like I'm sure, sorry, I don't want to take away, but what Bill Murray did after that is absolutely.
I mean, you don't see it coming. You absolutely. He gets told, okay, you're going to clean the pool out. Then he says, oh, okay. Oh, this is a candy bar. All right. I'm going to eat the candy bar.
Oh, it's all right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Think about it. If a candy bar had been sitting in a pool for hours or however long, and he finds it at the bottom of the thing, it's not going to be any good. You're not going to be able to eat it. But, well, I digress.
But Karl Speckler would eat it. That's why it works.
Only Karl would eat that candy bar.
Yeah.
You know? And that's when Baby Ruth became famous. I mean, it blew up.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, Baby Ruth, Mounds, all those kind of candy bars blew up after this. Okay, where are we at here? Karl eats candy bar. Okay. All right. Now, this is a good scene. Cindy visits Ty at his house, gets drunk, and goes skinny dipping in his pool. So now we're starting to move forward with this Cindy. Cindy, I said Cindy Morgan, but it's Lacey.
Yeah,
it's Lacey. I'm using the actor's name instead of the character's name.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it sound confusing, but it's Cindy Morgan is the actor. Lacey is the character. So it's Lacey goes skinny dipping with Ty and gets drunk at his house. And then Ty does a rub down. And then she goes, forget the garage, kiss me, you fool. Like, yeah, now look, Nick, you're married, right?
Yes.
I'm not married, but I'll tell you right now, if I'm with a girl and she's drunk, we go skinny dipping, I'm rubbing her down, and she's like, forget the garage, kiss me, you. I'm like, this is my dream come true right about now. If it's me, Nick, I'm like, this is my scenario right here, boy.
No, I mean, I won't lie. I mean, like I said, even before I was married, looking towards the door. No, I mean, like I said, I literally a lot of nights I fell asleep watching this movie. So I definitely had a little bit of crush on this girl, on Cindy Morgan, no question, because of how often I watched this film. But I mean, but she was supposed to be like, okay, oh, she's from New York, like she's
hoity-toity.
Like, oh, like she's very loose and like, oh, she'll do whatever. And yeah, apparently that whole scene was completely not supposed to be there. Chevy Chase accidentally spilled the oil. Like that was all not supposed to happen.
Oh, really?
And so she was just trying to wrap up the scene because she was like, oh, I feel like this is going too long. And that's why she threw in the scene that like, okay, just shut up and kiss me. Because she was like, okay, this probably needs to end now. So I saw this in a video a few days ago after I rewatched the movie. So
okay, cool. Yeah. That's a good anecdote about this. That scene. That is.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have this film is filled with hilarious scenes. Then we have the boat christening.
Yes.
So Cindy gets high at the boat christening.
Mm-hmm.
Al goes to mess with the judge, ruins everybody's day on the water with crazy driving. Hank smells little boat. He called it the Flying Wasp. Amber. Why do I say with Amber? I don't know what that means. Amber, do you?
I mean, Amber may have been one of the girls that was on the boat with Al.
Oh, it is. She was one of the girls. He's got, drop dead girls on his boat, and he's like going around the water all crazy, knocking everybody out of the water, knocking them off the platform, ruining everybody's day. Then he goes and sinks the judge's little dinky boat, the Wasp,
that's right. I'm trying to
Flying Wasp. The Flying Wasp is what it was called.
That's right.
All right, then finally. This is a scene that I didn't see coming because Lacey was with Ty, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, because of when she got high at the boat christening, she gets with Danny. And we all know at this point, Danny's with Maggie.
Yeah, so it's just sort of like, and then they had the whole thing of like, Maggie had the pregnancy scare right before that too.
Yeah.
So it was... I think like I said, I think it was more just to emphasize that Lacey was just I guess I don't know her, but she's basically a floozy from New York City that sleeps with anybody that's there, basically.
She's just not part of that hoity-toity world, even though the judge thinks she should be.
Exactly. So she just.
She wants to party. She wants to drink. She wants to do drugs, and she wants to have sex, and she does it in her uncle's house, and she gets caught by him. And Danny, of course, was supposed to be like the guy he was going to groom to get the scholarship and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now he's mad at Danny, the judges.
Yeah. So it's just, and then that whole, like, and just escaping out of the house, and that was pretty funny.
We've seen that 1,000 times as well.
Yeah.
The guy getting caught in the house. He's not supposed to be there with the girl, and he has to escape out of the house through the window or wherever, That's another one that we've seen. Now, this is a scene that was totally improvised. It wasn't in the movie, but they needed a scene here. And Karl mocks playing golf at the Masters.
Yes.
Once again, if you're a golfer, you're always sitting on the tee thinking you're in Augusta or the U.S. Open or wherever, and the Masters, and they roar. Of course, you're not.
No, I think he was given it like 2 lines of dialogue to work with there, and just like, hey, just pretend you're fantasizing about something was basically his direction, and he did that, which is one of the greatest monologues in any comedy, in my opinion. Yeah. It's just perfect. It just works perfectly for his character, and I mean, just the whole thing that follows after that, like.
I haven't got into that yet, but we will.
Oh no, I'm like I said, I love this movie. I could go on for hours.
No, I know. Bleacher Features is a give and take. I go through the scenes and stuff. That way, I bounce it back to you when you bounce it back to me. This is what we talk about. You obviously know this movie better than I do, so I write it down and I'm just going through it. And you're just like on cue. You're right there with me discussing it, so you know exactly what's coming next.
So it's like I said, one of the best improvised monologues that's in any comedy that's been put out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic. So then Dr. Pieper decides, let me see if I can get 9 holes in before it starts raining.
Yeah.
Then he ends up playing the best game of his life, and then gets struck by lightning, dies on the course.
Yeah, and then I will say there's a line that I know my dad and I use all the time whenever it starts raining. When Karl it's basically pouring down rain, and the I believe it was the bishop that was playing was saying, no, hey, we should probably go in, and then Karl says, no, it's going to be a little while before the heavy stuff starts coming down, and then it starts coming down even harder. And I know we use it all the time as soon as it starts raining at any point. Not even when we're golfing, we use that line all the time. So it's just a classic. Like, okay, hey, we can keep going, but clearly it's pouring down rain. So
yeah, I mean, who the hell's playing golf in that weather?
Exactly.
I'm not playing golf in that weather. I don't know what the hell.
Exactly.
If it's got one trickle of rain, I'm out of there. I don't.
Yeah.
Look, when I pressure wash, I don't like to get wet. I tell you, you're dealing with water when you pressure wash, so that's about me. But that's an whole other thing. I mean, so Maggie, you alluded to this earlier. Maggie thinks she's pregnant. Danny has to talk with the Judge Smales about his future. He gets in a fight between him and the judge. They get kind of. They get in an argument a little bit because he doesn't know if he's the type of person he wants to give the scholarship to after what happened with Lacey and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
And of course, Maggie comes back and she's happy. She's dancing around. She's not pregnant anymore. So it didn't last for she's pregnant. And not very long later, she's not pregnant.
Yeah.
That didn't go anywhere, but it was still okay. Glad for her that she's not pregnant, because they had that little bit of dialogue about, what are you going to do, but
exactly.
All right, now this is a whole sequence. Al gets the judge to bet $10,000 on a round of golf. Then Ty comes into it, and they up it to $20,000, and then By the time they're actually on the course or ready to play, they up it to $40,000. We'll just get $40,000 later. We'll bet.
Well,
on golf. Ty.
I mean, we know Ty does. So
yeah. Well, we get the checks later, so okay, he's got the 40. You're like, okay, does the judge really have this kind of money? You know, it's a lot of money. Well, we know Al with the yacht and everything, you in his car and the clothes and everything, and the women. Yeah. We know Al's got that kind of money, so Al's like wanting to bump it up because he likes the idea of high stakes. You know. Yeah.
So and then how I love how all the like employees are getting in on it on like side bets and stuff like that, and like the whole
scene. Ahead of me on that.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'm trying not to. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. It's no problem. Then he says, Karl says, he's got this whole thing, think and look like an animal, and he's got these things that look like animals in his hand. Come to find out, it's plastic explosives. Oh boy, what are we getting into now? Animals look like plastic explosives. Oh god!
And then you've got the gopher in the window looking at him, being like,
"Oh boy!"
It's like, what's going on here? Oh yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So Ty plays golf at night, and then eventually visits Karl in the house, and they smoke. Okay, they smoke grass that can be used for grass, and play golf on. And they get drunk together, which is another scene that wasn't in the movie originally, but they needed a connection between Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. And of course, when these two get together, it's classic.
I mean, that whole thing. I think it was called Kentucky Bluegrass was, I believe, the name of the grass. What was the name of his, like, oh, you can play, play 9 holes on it and then get high as hell afterwards.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I mean, talk about playing golf. Golf would have become a huge sport if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
I mean,
everyone would get right into it. Yes.
Yeah, everybody like, oh yeah, I could smoke the girl. Okay, thousands of people would be playing golf. Yeah, I mean, thousands and thousands than there actually are playing golf.
Exactly.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Al and Ty drive up on the green at the car, and of course the judge gets mad. You can't be driving up on the green with the car, Yeah. He's got, like you said, he's got the honking. And then there's this is kind of early on for technology, but he's got a phone in the bag, a portable phone in the bag. Wow. Yeah. 1980, portable phones in bags. Yeah. We didn't get cell phones till the 90s, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless it's Wall Street. They had that big phone in Wall Street. All right, then Al tries to bribe the referee, which is Lou Loomis, the guy that runs the Burger Shack and all that stuff. And he's in charge of all the caddies, Lou Loomis is. Mm-hmm. Okay, then finally we get to this scene that we've been building towards the whole movie with Karl Spackler. Karl used this plastic explosive that looked like animals to blow up the Gophers. He's got it all set up. These guys are in the middle of their round.
Yeah.
He's getting this whole thing set up, and this is going to all coincide together here. The judge tries to cheat. He drops his ball, picks his ball up and drops it. Danny finally has enough. I don't need to be caddying for this guy anymore. Then you see all the guys in the bushes doing prop bets.
So good that part was.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Vegas. It's like a Vegas thing because you just prop bets in Vegas all the time.
And just real quick, the part where the judge's son was like picking his nose, he's like, "I'll bet $50 he eats it." Like,
they're betting on everything.
Yeah, exactly. So just that whole bit was funny, and then just Rodney Dangerfield being like, "Oh, I threw out my back. I need someone to take my part." And sorry.
Al fakes broken arm.
Yeah.
Gets Danny to replace him. Judge uses lucky club on final hole that makes the putt. Okay. So Al, he knows they're losing.
Yeah.
He fakes an arm injury. They convince the judge to let Danny play in his place. Needless to say, Danny is a ringer. We know that he won the caddy. He won the caddy tournament already.
Exactly.
So we know he's a good golfer.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, okay, don't do this, judge. You're making a mistake. You're watching a movie. He said, don't do this. You know Danny's going to help come back. And, it's a movie, so you know there's going to be a comeback here.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, out of nowhere, Al bets double or nothing, $80,000 on this damn game of golf, this round of golf.
Yep.
Wow. Why can't I have that kind of money where these guys get throw around $80,000 on a round of golf?
I mean, I think I know some people in real life that probably be able to.
Yeah. Well, I know Michael Jordan used to do that. Will Smith. I mean, there's some big name people that would just.
Oh, sure. Oh, it happens.
So Danny makes game-winning putt while bombs go off, exploding all around the golf course.
Yeah. So he almost makes the putt. It's on the cup, and then, like you said, the explosions start going off with Flight of the Valkyries. And that knocks the ball into the cup. Thus,
and Drew Loomis is watching the whole time. He's like glued to this ball the whole entire time. So because he's the referee, if this ball doesn't go in, they lose. And if it goes in, they win, and the judge has to pay. So it's a big deal at that moment.
Yep.
So eventually, Al and Ty win the game of golf, the match of golf. Then we find out that judge don't have 80 grand. And Al sends Moose and Rocco to get his money from the judge.
I forgot about Moose and Rocco. That's right. I forgot about Moose and Rocco.
And they look like gangsters. They look like
they're just
breakers.
Yeah, they're just your big dudes that you bring along, and they're only in that movie for literally 10 seconds. But yeah, that's right.
But it's effective. You're like, because you knew.
Yeah,
he's going to get his money one way or the other.
He's sprinting off down the fairway. That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the explosions throughout the golf course during all this. And when you know it, the Gophers are not dead.
Yep. Yep. What a great ending. Is just him just
dancing around.
Yep. So
and real quick, they tried everything to try to do real gophers or animals that could look like gophers, rabbits, anything to mimic looking like gophers. And they just could not find it. And then somebody at ILM came up with this idea of this puppet that could look like a gopher. And because the movie's a comedy, you know it's a fake gopher, so it goes into the whole
exactly
this movie's a comedy. So we know we don't take it serious that it's a fake gopher. So
and I think it works better that way.
Huh?
It works better that way.
Yeah, it really did work better that way. I mean, it made complete sense in the context of the film.
Yeah, so I agree. I think if they had a real gopher, I mean, it'd still be a good movie. But I mean, the fact that it was a fake gopher controlled by somebody, I mean, a natural gopher would not have made those movements. Which, like, the ending would not have been a thing if it was a real gopher.
Yeah.
So.
Another one of the quotes that you hear as a golfer, because of his name, Michael O'Keefe plays a character by the name of Danny Noonan. Mm-hmm. Noonan is his last name. As a golfer, as golf courses and people would be standing there watching their buddy playing golf, and then we got Noonan, trying to make him miss.
Yeah.
And that's another quote that goes back to this movie. So if you ever hear the quote Noonan, you know where it comes. It comes from Caddyshack.
Miss it, Noonan, miss it.
Yeah.
Miss
it. Because of Tony, I believe was Tony
and his brother. I believe his brother was crap. I don't remember his brother's name.
Yeah, I didn't have.
Yeah, so it was his little brother that was like also doing like, because he starts doing it and Judge Smales is right next to him and like hits him in the head. He's like, hey, stop it.
Yeah. So now let's get into the we've been through the whole movie. Let's get into the relevance of this movie and the why this movie stands up today, Nick. And you're the perfect person to talk to about this, and because you have such a admiration for this absolute classic of a movie. Why do you think people come back to Caddyshack? Look, me and you are in a community of trivia people and the Schmodown and so forth like that. And there's one guy, his name is Mark Ellis, who absolutely loves this movie. He doesn't like Caddyshack 2, but he loves Caddyshack.
I mean, no one likes Caddyshack 2.
Yeah. So why I want to get it from you, because I know how much this movie you care about this movie. Why does this movie transcend so much? And
I mean, I don't know. I think the comedy's relevant, for the most part. I don't think any of it's really outdated. Like, I mean, it's the game of golf, and the game of golf has not changed the last, heck, it's been 40 years since this movie came out. But so it's just like it hasn't, like, the game of golf has not changed. And so I know a lot of comedies in that time had, some jokes or some bits that would have been like, kind of iffy now, but there wasn't really anything in this movie that really oversteps its bounds. So that's why I think people, like, if I recommend this movie to people and they watch it, they still think it's funny. And I mean, heck, and just when it comes to the golfing part of it, like, there's a lot of pro golfers who watch this movie and, or that like talk about this movie all the time. And, some of them have started golfing because of this movie, or, it's just a great, like, satire on the game of golf. Like that, I think that's why. It's just because it's the sport of golf that has not changed pretty much at all since 1980. So that's why it's still relevant today, in my opinion. Because, like I said, it's just because of the sport that it's mocking in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, sports comedies have to show me that the people making of them love the sport that they're using.
Yeah.
In case of like The Replacements or, different some of these comedies about baseball or whatever, you could tell the people making this movie loved the game of golf and that they wanted to do justice to the game of golf while also making a funny movie.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like you said, it's just like these guys have played golf before. And the average person who plays golf is going to go through these exact same situations. So, like you said, they love to play and they understand the funny situations that people go through when they play golf.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head. We have all been there. The rain, the Noonans, I mean, people being really annoying in front of you or behind you, that is a super common thing. And like the guy you're playing against, trying to psych you out, like that's all, like, people who have played golf at any point in their lives know these situations. And maybe showing up at the course not dressed properly.
Yeah, exactly.
They have their own rules on the golf course.
Yeah. So and every country club has different sort of, their own spin on stuff. So if someone from the outside, Al Cervic being a great example here, just like, they, okay, yes, I was invited to come, but, that means, okay, I don't care about the rules. There's so many people like that. So it's just, it's super relevant. Like,
and if you look at the way they dress now and the clothes that they wear now and some of the stuff that the diggers and stuff with the bag, like I would point up a guy there like Jesper Parnevik. Look at that, the way he dressed,
Yeah.
Jesper's a great player, but he wanted to stand out. He wanted to look different. And you like the Ricky Fowlers now, the clothes that he wears and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They all want to stand out. And that goes back to Caddyshack, that he was different than everybody else.
Yeah, wearing these super bright clothing and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like I said, I think the main point is that golf has just not changed in a significant portion compared to a lot of them. That's why this sort of movie stands up, because it makes fun of a lot of golfing tropes that people will laugh at because they know it's true that it happens.
Yeah.
So I mean that's my main thing here, is that it's yeah. I mean the jokes are very well written, and I mean it was like and it still stays relevant, and even in our time right now. So
yeah, so that leads me to my last question that I always try to end on. With sports movies, they have to have a relevance. They have to have a gravitas to them, as far as I'm concerned. The ones that really are the greats, and I put Caddyshack, in my opinion, in the top 10 sports movies of all time. And I get a lot of crap from people about my favorite sports movies because I'm a little older than people. So I have movies that came out 80 years ago or 40 years ago or whatever, 35 years ago, in my top 10 of the greatest sports movies of all time. And with Bleacher Features, I try to focus on movies, to me, that stand the test of time, that have a relevance to it. What can you say to people watching Caddyshack, besides what you already said, why this movie is considered one of the great sports movies of all time? Because I just think it's the characters, it's the love of the game, it's the love of the sport, it's the comedy. There's so many different lines of dialogue and quotes and stuff between all these characters that really make it one of the greats of all time. And it's probably, I would argue to say, it's probably the greatest sports comedy of all time.
I'd say it's definitely up there. I don't want to say for sure it is, but it's definitely top 3 for me. I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Just to sort of, emphasize what I've already talked about. It's just because of they nailed how, like, the specific parts of this game that people, just normal golf players, relate to. So it's just like when people who just go out every other weekend and play golf relate to this film, and they relate to this film even to this day, because it's just, they are able to, like, it's your very typical casual golfer clashing with golfers who take it way too seriously, and just back and forth on that point. And people being mad at someone who's super good who doesn't try as often, aka Ty Webb. They're like, how is he so good but he barely ever plays, and all this kind of stuff. So I think it just it stands the test of time, in the sense that the jokes work even now. I think there's a lot of them are just have a lot of layers to them that they're able that people even now are able to laugh about. So I don't know. It's just when it comes to most sports comedies, especially when it comes to because it's a golf one, and golf's had some decent comedies every now and again, but this was the first one that really stuck out to everybody.
The golf within the sports movie genre, golf has had a few really, really good sports movies, and I would say of all the golf movies that have come out, this is the best. I think it just has so much relevance, and it has such great performances, even by people I've never seen before or since, like Cindy Morgan. I never saw her before. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what else she's in besides Caddyshack. Maggie O'Houlihan, that actress, I don't know where she's been. Michael O'Keefe, I've seen him in things, but if you look back at Michael O'Keefe's career, the guy has never been in anything even close to being. He's been like in TV dramas and procedurals and things like that, but still to this day, this is the greatest thing he's ever done. Ted Knight, phenomenal. If Ted Knight doesn't give the performance he gives in this movie, being so uptight and stuck up and just, his character doesn't work, because you don't see him in any. I don't even know what else Ted Knight is in.
I just pulled Ted Knight up just out of curiosity, and this was actually his last film he ever did.
Wow.
He did. Looks like he did a bunch of stuff in the 60s.
Okay.
Nothing that terribly standing out. Looks like he was on MASH for a few episodes.
Oh, that's right. He was on MASH.
And then he was also on the Mary Tyler Moore Show for a few episodes. So,
that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So, but no, he did a bunch of stuff in between 60 and 70.
Okay.
But Caddyshack is his last official credit.
Okay. Yeah. So he's fantastic in the movie. I mean, he is.
Yeah, he's perfect in that role.
I mean, you can't ask for a better snobby, kind of snooty, uppity kind of guy than Ted Knight. And he plays it up. Because he could have been like, "Oh, these guys, I don't want to be the brunt of the jokes with Chevy Chase and Rodney." But he just goes along with it, and he's great going along with those guys because it makes it that much better,
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
But Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, and Bill Murray are absolutely standouts in this movie. Like you said, Harold Ramis said, "Let me go get a bunch of my buddies, and we're going to make a movie about golf." And they made a movie that stood this test of time for 40 years, in my opinion, and one of the great sports movies of all time. And I was glad to get you, Nick, to come on here. I know how much you love this movie, so it was my pleasure to have you on here to talk about Caddyshack on this episode of Bleacher Features. Where can you be found?
You could just look me up on Facebook. Just look up Nick Carley on Facebook. That's where I'm most active. I'm happy to chat about anything movie related. So it's, that's the best way to reach me. And real quick, I'm happy you had me on here. Like you said, I love this movie and I was glad to talk about it.
Yeah, it was kind of like one of those weird things. I put it out there looking for people to talk about sports movies, and you just chimed in last year. This is over a year ago. It's been a year since. We're going to do this in August, and I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't get around to it. And so I only ended up doing 4 episodes. This year I'm going to try to do 6 episodes or more if I can help it. If I can get people that want to do it. And so you're going to be the first episode that comes out in the summer. So, I was glad I found someone who loved. That's the whole point of Bleacher Features, really, is I love the movies, but try to find someone to discuss it with that loves it equally as much as me. And you, in your case, you love it way more than I love it. You're chiming in before I even got to my notes through the, talking through the script and stuff. You knew what was coming ahead of time. I was like, all right, hold on a second, we'll get to that, Yeah. But that's how much you knew about this film. You can always find me at Dance Get Bound on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Also, I'm a film critic. Well, this is kind of why I started the shows. I'm a film critic. I wrote for a website called cinesportstalk.com where you can go there. You can all kinds of different articles, sports articles, movie reviews that I wrote. But I write for a different website now called disappointmentmedia.com. That's DISIPPIOINTMEDIA. DISPPOINTMEDIA. Disappointmentmedia.com, where I write about movie reviews. I do a lot of retrospectives. Right now we're doing retrospectives. Irfan Khan died. I did a review of Slumdog Millionaire. We had the 30th anniversary of Pretty Woman. I did a review of that. High Fidelity, same thing, 20 years. Brian Dennehy, he died. I did a review of Rambo. Coming up in the month of May, I have the 35th anniversary or the 25th anniversary of Braveheart and the 20th anniversary of Gladiator reviews coming out.
Nice.
Also, I got a bunch of South by Southwest movies that I'm reviewing that came to Amazon. So if anybody's wanting to read anything that I wrote or whatever, you could just go to disappointmentmedia.com. So for Nick and myself, thank you very much.